is there any way, do you think, that they can wean themselves off the black stuff from Russia and actually, you know, potentially cripple the Russian economy to the extent that the conflict stops?
Well, I think, Alex, what this indicates is we become energy dependent upon Russia and China and sources of fossil fuel. And that's exactly what Putin's strategy is to have us dependent upon their energy, which really puts us at a disadvantage in situations like this. I simply don't think we can unwind ourselves from Russian energy as a way to end the conflict. I think what the EU should really focus on is winning the war in Ukraine. What is that defined as? Helping Zelensky do that. And then we worry about how we rebuild Ukraine, particularly if we're thinking about using the profits from Russian oil and gas to do so.
Now, I think we're expecting to catch up with Jens Stoltenberg of NATO again, possibly even at the end of this programme. How do you think NATO's looking through the prism of all of this? Because it seems to me that every step NATO tries to take is undermined by one of its members at some point.
Right. I mean, NATO really have been disappointed from the get-go at how NATO has addressed this issue. I mean, first off, they should have been talking about Ukrainian victory and then resourcing that victory and not being so concerned about miscalculation on the part of Putin. The NATO miscalculation was thinking that sanctions or the threat of sanctions and telling Putin what we wouldn't do would stop him from invading Ukraine. So I think from a NATO perspective, and recognizing again that energy is core to this conversation, NATO needs to talk about what's a Ukrainian victory. They also need to really put their foot down on war crimes and start to go after these generals and these politicians and all the way down to the working level and even go after the oligarchs and say, look, you are the guys resourcing the Russian war. It's not us buying their energy per se. And then finally, I think we need to start to talk about what does a Ukraine look like after victory, and particularly some of the issues with WMD and the things we've seen Putin threaten to do. If we don't have a more forceful stance on that issue, I'm not sure where this ends.